I did it. Sat through all the courses. They were all delicious. They had some spirits. They had beers paired with each. They had raffle prizes. I won a koozie.
Your favorite.
I also
What was the koozie?
I wanted. It was a Grand Canyon koozie.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter what koozie it was, unless it's like solid plated gold. I'm not really going to care about it because you know how I feel about koozies.
Just curious.
You will actually maybe use it at the in Flagstaff
Maybe.
someday because it's going to be there, sitting there in a drawer, just waiting for bacteria to join
Infect it and get all over your hands. Yeah.
Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier. I have no idea what we're going to talk about today. I really don't.
All right.
And you suggested some things, and maybe
Okay.
maybe it'll just happen. So I think the easiest thing to do for me is to open this delicious De Grün Pilsner and drink it, and see what flows from that. Look at that. I replicated a Luker style pour, just like that. Did you, by the way, did you see, probably not, because John Hall posted something about how some classic American beer bar wanted to know if he wanted to write about their craft beer chops and how they were going to be the first in the country to pour Miller Lite out of a Luker tap and sell it for only $8. They were going to do the Hadrinka, I don't know.
Hladinka.
Pour. This kind of foamy pour.
Hladinka.
That was very funny. He's like, I don't know if they're trolling me or if they're serious.
I missed that one.
It's warm in here.
Nah, it's good.
All right.
I'm drinking a Barley Moon 2023 by Crooked Tooth. They do their full moon brews, and this one is a collab with Dark Sky. This one's called Barrel-Aged Rye Barley Wine Infused with Black Onyx.
Okay.
I wish I knew how they infused the Black Onyx, because it's a piece of stone.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
To ask him.
I'm reading. Beneath this full barley moon is the constellation of Aquarius. We call to and honor Pegasus to carry us with vitality as we soar through this Aquarian full moon.
You know, one of the things I have to do is just get the Bluetooth thing going so that we can call people up and go, hey, we have a question.
Yes.
And yeah, I got to do that pretty soon.
Barley for deep connection to the wisdom of times past, present, and future. Rye, an offering of love in all we do and create. And Black Onyx for balance and centering within this cycle of time.
That would mean I need another phone, probably.
Yeah, for sure. The three you have now is not enough. You know what? I never sent back Bonnie's old one.
Oh. No,
It's
it
a
has
4A.
to have phone service. That's the whole thing. I guess we can use the
Wi-Fi.
internet. Yeah, I don't know. See what I got. I have a lot of my phones still. I don't know. Might be just for the audio.
I mean, it's a 4A. That's woo.
Just for the audio. It just
Yeah,
needs a
it's
working Bluetooth stack and
Absolutely.
a Wi-Fi, and I don't think the quality matters. I don't think it really varies that much.
No, it's pretty much.
I wonder how much value Google gets out of the, hey, we were just wondering how'd that call go? Like, because they do and I never answer. I never answer that. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I don't get those questions.
No?
No.
All right.
Oh, because you're on Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What are you on?
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Were you affected by that's an AT&T thing?
It was T-Mobile too, but no.
All right.
No problemo. I've had T-Mobile for 20 plus years. And we have 4 lines for $100, unlimited everything, and I'm never changing.
No goods or services or exchange, and
I'm never
consideration.
changing my plan. It's so stuck in there until they are like, hey, we're not accepting this grandfather plan anymore. You're going to have to switch to something else.
Do you remember how I threw DirecTV under the bus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I got a card. I got a card from that guy I went to Strong Beer. I don't know if he heard the podcast or he used to actually be our DirecTV guy. I don't know. I thought it was
What
a
kind of
random
card? A wedding card? A get well soon card? What
no,
kind of
a
card?
business card. Like it was at our booth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Huh. My neighbor, I was out.
Never going back.
We were out chatting with the neighbors, and they had 4 little kids. They were watching her sisters, so they're all under the age of 4. And they were just running around like maniacs. It was adorable. And my dogs loved it. And during the conversation, he said he listens to the pod every single time it comes out, which is awesome. Don't you think?
Yeah. I'm just not taking that call.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're on a podcast right now, so you can.
It's true.
We're just rambling on nonsense. So let's talk a little bit about yesterday.
Yesterday.
We had a meeting yesterday.
You want to talk? Well, let's talk about the conclusion of Beer Week because we were halfway
all right.
through. And
Sure.
I went to Flagstaff as I
Oh, yeah.
I had. It was the ABV dinner. It's Arizona Brewers and Vets. It was at the Elks Lodge in Flagstaff. It is my Elks Lodge, number 499.
Woo.
I don't know if we're like
Full props, 499.
the fighting 499.
That's right.
I don't know what our slogan is. I don't think we have one. Anyway, it was there. They sat 216 guests. I did the math, and they had I want to say 9 courses.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
it was a
of
lot of
action.
food. It was a lot of food. By the time the 8th course came around, they were dropping full, cutting board size pizzas on each table, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me! This would be a good meal for 6 of us, straight up. Like,
Yeah.
we're just not able to put this down. And I was still kind of recovering from my period of bloatiness from post illness, post stomach flu. So that was not a good welcome back necessarily to my stomach, but I did it. Sat through all the courses. They were all delicious. They had some spirits. They had beers paired with each. They had raffle prizes. I won a koozie.
Your favorite.
I also
What was the koozie?
It was a Grand Canyon koozie.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter what koozie it was, unless it's like solid plated gold. I'm not really going to care about it because you know how I feel about koozies.
Just curious.
You will actually maybe use it at the in Flagstaff
Maybe.
someday because it's going to be there, sitting there in a drawer, just waiting for bacteria to join
Infect it and get all over your hands. Yeah.
it. And I also won a T-shirt, Dark Sky T-shirt, which is more Brenda's size T-shirt. So she won. I mean, last year we won a bunch of gift cards. So, which I find is one of the only things I enjoy about winning those things because all the brewery paraphernalia, I don't wear it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I put it in a box if I think I'm going to
If
someday
it's
wear
something
it.
super special.
Yeah. And I'll wait till after the job is over.
Yesterday, I was wearing a Grand Canyon t-shirt because it is the softest shirt in my closet. It
Yeah.
is so soft.
Is it Next Level or is it some other brand?
Other brand.
No goods or services were exchanged for that mention. We use Next Level once in a while. I don't know, like, it seems like t-shirt technology has grown exponentially
Right.
in
It's
my
not just
lifetime.
Gildan.
Yeah.
It used to all just be Gildan
The
all
Hanes
the times
BFT.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. You just wear those things till the neck just decides to give out on it
No, I don't.
when you're mowing the lawn.
I have so mowing the lawn. What are you talking about?
It's yard work.
I do need to do some purging in my closet.
Yeah.
I have entirely too much. And I don't get the paralysis of choice when I'm getting dressed in the morning. I just have too
yeah.
much. Oh, sorry. Beer week.
No, that's fine. This is part of the job. I do have a personal policy that I will not wear anything but Guild stuff when I'm working. And I'm usually wearing it because I'm working.
We're almost always working.
Yeah. I not that I don't, want to support the breweries, but I feel like You just if you start, you're gonna end up wearing all kinds of stuff that you really wouldn't have chose on your own.
Oh,
I'm very specific about what I wear sometimes.
I do wear a Dragoon ringer tee that I got at their anniversary party last year.
So you made a different choice, and I'm fine with that.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
you have to
I-
be comfortable with it. I just know that I would be like, oh, thanks for this T-shirt. And now I feel obligated to wear it, and I just don't want to play that head game. So
Yeah, I will turn down most T-shirts.
Yeah.
I just really like that Dragoon one, and I actually purchased it with money out of my own pocket.
that's good.
It is a great looking T-shirt.
I'll buy tackers.
Yeah.
I'll buy those kinds of things. Stickers, if they're for sale and I like them, I'll buy them. But although it's such a small purchase, it doesn't really mean very much.
Hey, where did this beer come from? This Husk Copper State IPA. You had a thing.
I did. I had I was invited to the the Arizona Economic Council. It was held at the Greater Phoenix Economic Council's headquarters. There were several legislators there. They gave out some awards to some of their favorite legislators. So I went to that. In exchange, I brought some beer, and so that was one of them. I got some from
The shop?
the shop. And I think that was maybe one more, or maybe that was it.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it just normally, first of all, those are usually invite-only things, members-only things.
You're not a member.
No, it would have probably cost me $150 to show up to that, and it was just light hors d'oeuvres, but it's more about the access, right? Same thing with political functions. Actually, have one on the D side coming up on Tuesday, and I'm deciding whether I need to make a personal contribution. It's at a place that already has a liquor license, so our beer doesn't really necessarily isn't the coin of the realm for that kind of thing. If it's somewhere where we can donate beer, that's usually the pass to get in. But
Right.
some of these things are $1,000 minimum suggested. I would never pay that because I have to support too many things. Just like T-shirts, I can't wear every T-shirt. But yeah, that's where that came from, and thank you to both of those breweries for offering it up. I can't really get into it, but it provided some access and some insight that was really super relevant a couple weeks ago for what we're doing in the legislature. And it's one of those things that we're not always running bills, but I can tell next year, because we have some things left on the table, that next year I feel like I'm going to be going to 4 or 5 times more.
A lot of committee meetings.
A lot of those
You're
kinds
doing
of,
a lot this year.
I know, but it was started a little late in the process because we were getting requests to tweak things and change things much too late in the cycle, and we gave it the old college try, but those things.
We even got some refreshers today.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, long story short is that might be more of what I end up doing next year, starting much earlier. I'm super anxious for the session to be over, only so I can start talking about the new things I want to talk about. It's pointless to really bring that up now.
Right.
The legislative session was put on hold for a week because a bunch of legislators went on a free trip to Israel. And if an organization invites all the legislators, then they can be free. It's kind of counterintuitive to me.
Yeah, they can invite all of them for free, but if they only invite one.
It's reported differently on your lobbying sheet too. So if you invite specific ones, it's treated differently if you invite everybody.
And then Friday morning, we were over at Phoenix Beer Co.
Yes, we're going backwards now.
Yeah.
I kind of postponed my trip. So Thursday night, I got a text. Thursday. Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, you got a voicemail.
At like 10 o'clock at night, and it was Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, whose name I butchered twice. He was acting governor since the governor was out of town.
And
There is-
she's again for 10 days.
Yeah, so it's a line of succession. So it's because we don't have a lieutenant governor. We have a governor, and then it goes to Secretary of State, then it goes to
Treasurer.
No. Goes to Attorney General, then Treasurer.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Because the fact that it got down that far to Kimberly Yee, a Republican, being the governor for a hot 36 hours or whatever, is very unusual.
Okay.
And then you don't know who the next one in line is?
Education?
Superintendent of Schools.
Yeah.
Tom
Oh,
Horn.
God. All right. Well, those three have to really plan their schedules because we cannot.
I think, it did have a little bit of drama because, in fact, when I posted it, people were like, oh, what's going on? What happened? Like, people don't understand how that works.
Yeah.
They thought, but originally,
When they said acting governor, they're like, is she sick? Is she in the hospital?
when it got down to a difference in party being the governor, the crazies started posting, oh my God, she's finally been, summoned to a tribunal and will face whatever.
Awesome.
All that stuff.
Love
Anyway, he's like, hey, I really want to do a proclamation, I thought about it for like 10 seconds. I was like, oh, well, I wonder how this is going to play with everybody, because it is it is a press stunt. It is a political stunt.
I love political press stunts. What are you talking about?
I know. Well, I mean, I was like, well, I wonder if the governor's going to hold us against. I don't know. Like,
Okay.
you know what? So
Sure.
I don't care. Like, because it reminded. We used to get that done all the time, and so thank you to the Secretary of State for kind of kicking our butts a little bit. Like, we should be getting these in advance, and this was done in like a matter of hours, not days. And, there was, Bram Resnick showed up. We got an interview with KJZZ, NPR. If there would have been a couple of days, we would probably have a lot more people. So we will.
A few of our brewery
Yeah.
people.
So we did it
showed up.
at Phoenix Beer Co.
You want
because
to explain why?
why what?
Why do we do so many things at Phoenix Beer Co? It feels like we're favoring them.
It's close to all the media outlets, right? Because you've got 3 and 5 on North 7th. You got 12 on Washington. It's close to the Capitol. What other media outlet I'm missing? 10 is downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you can do it downtown, great. Now, there are downtown breweries, but you need the space. And with one shot, you can communicate tap room and manufacturing, right? You can see the stainless steel of the brewery, and you can see cans. And but if you want a more intimate shot, you can turn it, inward towards the tap room. This didn't happen because we sort of short-circuited. Every politician wants to pour a beer on camera. It can sometimes go bad, although I know
Secretary Fontes knows how to pour a beer.
Right.
Yeah.
But we use cans because we wanted to thank the brewery for offering their space and interrupting. They turned the pumps off and interrupted their flow to crack cans, and we knew those would be in camera shots and things like that. So that's why we do it there. I'm happy to entertain other locations, but generally speaking, they don't want to go too far out from downtown.
Yeah,
because we will always be trumped by a car chase or a rainstorm or some other story,
or a apartment complex fire.
Right. So that's why we do it there, and I can think of reasons to do it at the other downtown breweries. Just depends on what the story is. But for that, you need a nice open space so that you get the different angles for the press.
There were 20 to 25 people involved in this whole thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, they had their own sort of entourage.
Secretary Fontes invited some friends of his. Alejandro is his cousin.
Yes.
Walter
Station was in down the street, so we invited them.
Ron from
Armenis. Yeah.
Amgus.
Is it Armenis or Armenis? See, I'm doing this thing with the names now.
It's from
It's a Greek name.
The main ingredient.
Right.
Ron, the main ingredient.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to try to say his last name?
No, come on now.
Anyway, he used to be a ska. I actually met him after we had our meeting the other day, so I'll tell you about that later. Or now. How about now?
Oh, shit, why not? I mean, good
He was there. He was from the main ingredient. I met him at the main ingredient a couple days later to talk to somebody about an event. And we could talk about that later if we want. But Ron explained how, and we were talking about, hey, this used to be Lisa G's, it used to be that, and then Matt Diamond, who'd worked with a bunch of restaurants, bought it. But he was talking about Lisa G's, how he brought somebody in there to train, because he used to be a salesperson for US Foods.
Oh.
And he said he went there, showed her the ropes, and they didn't get the sale. But he's like, but I did end up buying this place.
Yeah.
So it was Lisa G's, and then Matt Diamond bought it, turned it into the main ingredient, and ran it for many, many years. It has, if you've ever been there, it has this, he's improved the patio quite a bit from when Matt Diamond owned it. It has a small bar. I think there's only 8 taps, maybe.
It's a cute little place.
Right, but we talk about this a lot. I mean, as an industry, like you can do a lot with fewer taps, and you sometimes, I mean, you can imagine a change of fate if they would have just said, oh, you know, we need to keep everybody. We're going to put 30 taps in, and they would have to strap a walk-in cooler to the patio side and like kind of change the vibe, and like that would have been a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And they have great food, and it's in an old house, and I can't say. I told him like, man, I know things are rough for you sometimes, but this is really the ideal bar that most people think of what they would want to own. This is the kind of bar they would want to own.
Absolutely.
So it was good to see him and connect with him, and we had a long talk about all kinds of things besides the point at hand. But
Cool.
so that is we just start rambling, and
We find the beer finds you. But the beer finds you.
but yeah, we did the press conference, and like I know it seems all right. It was all of 8 or 9 minutes. I posted the video on YouTube already, by the way.
I thought it was incredibly long.
Yeah.
Like it did take an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh yeah,
for the whole circus.
I mean, well,
It's quite a circus.
We put together a PA system that that I was like, yeah.
I thought Adam was gonna literally fry his own hands off doing those. I was like, oh God.
I mean, they didn't ask for it, but I'm like, this really needs this, and this really needs this, and we worked on the camera angles in advance and all that stuff. It's important. But yeah, it was. But it's already paid dividends because I got a chance to. I mean, I could call him up, I could write him an email, but like it got a chance to give me a minute explaining to Bram Resnick what we're up to, and that's just enough. So that the next time I see him, if he has questions or if we have something that needs coverage, like we're right there. So those kinds of things are important for that reason.
For sure.
And the Secretary of State did a couple shout outs to some breweries. He got the name of Mother Roadright, and he changed it to Mother Bunch because I think he used to go there too. He's a downtown cat, that guy.
Yes.
He frequents a lot of places, but he does go to Main Ingredient quite a bit. If you're interested in chatting,
Hanging out with him.
he has a very large man for a bodyguard.
Man. He looks like a governor.
All right, welcome back to another great week, an edition of Politics Unplugged, the podcast edition. Man, it is great to be joined again by the great Hank Stevenson with the Arizona Agenda. Thank you very much for coming back here.
You've got to go day drinking with the Secretary of State.
Yeah,
acting governor.
His beer proclamation. Yeah. I love the fact that when every time governor leaves, well, not every time, but 80% of the time, like Mr. Fontes is ready with a proclamation.
Look,
man,
everything's good now.
I cannot wait until I can have a tall, cool, refreshing beer.
You're gonna celebrate Beer Week.
Yeah, and celebrate Beer Week.
Yeah.
Are we stoked?
I think we're stoked.
I mean, another proclamation from the acting governor Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, which means Governor Hobbs is out of town. And again, I love it.
Yeah.
I love all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. One of those rare political things everyone can get behind. Beer Week. It's bipartisan.
It's bipartisan. To quote the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, quote, I like beer.
I like beer. Yeah. So yeah, Adrian Fontes, man of the people.
Anyway, so we look forward to doing those things. Probably should get on stick on that.
We need to get some Tucson
Yeah, I put down.
mayors talking about Baja Beer Fest.
Yeah, we have to see if they can get on the calendar. We always put that we're going to invite those folks, and sometimes we do, but I don't know.
Hold on, I'll write it down.
You could write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can get a certificate, if we can get a visit, if we can get a
Tucson dignitaries. I just wrote it right down.
right on,
Yeah.
right on. The mayor, the council members.
Whatever
Start with
dignitaries decide they want to be part of our action show. Yeah. Did you do anything on Saturday for Arizona Beer Week?
Yeah, I did the Flagstaff thing, and then Sunday.
What did you do on Saturday? Oh, that was the dinner?
That was the dinner.
Oh, I thought it was Friday night.
No.
Okay.
No. So yeah, overall, I think there was a spark of enthusiasm kind of later in the registration process, and so I think people are ready to be back. I know that you mentioned that there were more accounts. I think, out of necessity, I think people again want to get back to driving some excitement.
We had
So-
about 30 more events than we did last year, and they were more valuable events. People were thinking about the
Right.
events more than last year. Last year, there were a lot of $1 off all Arizona beers for Arizona Beer Week.
Right.
And it's a thing, which is cool, but I don't know how much it really is an event.
Right. So the thing I think we need to work on, and I think this is going to spell out maybe more days in general for Beer Week, is that we need to focus on Tucson in particular, and also, not to the same degree, only because of the number of breweries and the accounts is parts of northern Arizona, and give them their own space. And I say that because I don't want this to be characterized as a Phoenix only kind of thing. And, the events are such that they're driven by population. So a majority of them are going to be that. But I've heard from business owners in Tucson, they want to be able to enjoy Beer Week. And if they could schedule a few things outside of what traditionally happens, then that would make them happier. And that's what we're all about. And regardless of how we structure it, we will be for sure having more voices heard on how this runs, and so that is definitely going to be a topic. And I'm kind of
There's some pretty big strategic things going on in the back end for Arizona Beer Week, for Arizona Strong Beer, for our website.
Yeah. Well, so I want to say we have some stability with a lot of the things that were kind of not historically settled matters with beer, strong beer. So I think
Arizona Strong.
that's one of them. It's a settled matter. Should be calling it that. But I think that gives us some liberty to refocus on making those more attractive to sponsors, and getting back to that portion of the relationships that we had, and similarly with Beer Week. So we're going to take a look at all that stuff, and hopefully, again, I think we'll hear more voices. We will probably see more days. And I just want to point out, like, it's so funny how people who kind of just hear about Beer Week and really don't participate. I'm talking about people in friends of friends groups. It's too long, or how come it's so long?
My wife did it. She posted, someone posted that it was, recovering from the end of Arizona Beer Week, and she posted Arizona Beer and then quotes week.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing to me, man?
Yeah.
She's like, do you want me to take it down? I said, just do whatever you want.
It's just
you're
funny
a grown
because
ass adult.
right. I mean, like most regular human beings, if they take part in it at all, they do 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
So just because that's your experience, like you think that the deal is we need to attract more people that normally aren't in our world. So it takes longer. So the fact that towards the end of our beer week that we got some recognition from the Secretary of State, that inspires me to drive harder to get that message out much earlier. Because now I feel like there was a point where I felt like we weren't getting the commitment to events. And it was really hard for me to talk about something in the hypothetical, right? But even if at a minimum there are 4 hallmark events during the week, which I think there are more than that, but if I can speak to those, knowing that those are going to happen, and I can start to then talk about Northern Arizona events, and we can give them a space where they know they're not going to compete with something here in Phoenix, similarly in Tucson, I think, that's going to be huge. And so, anybody who
doing
says
a week here, a week there, and a week there is definitely a possibility. The key is, and this is so important, getting events in early. Because when we get calls from the media who say, what is Arizona Beer Week? What do you have going on? And I can tell you exactly who puts in their events. 2 people call me each year. Is the website up?
Is it
ready to take events? That's Huss and Santan. Lumberyard put a ton of events in early too. Those 3 got their events in early.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about events with the media, and if we're talking about either on screen or in print media
is even longer.
For sure.
There are people in print media who would prefer that we could start talking about it in December.
And these are the only ones we can talk about.
Yeah.
So I can't change that. I can only take the information I'm given.
Right. Nobody wants to say, hey, this is going to happen, and it's in a print magazine, and it doesn't happen.
I want to highlight I especially want to highlight smaller breweries. And I'll tell you what, Huss and Santan want smaller breweries highlighted as much as I do.
Yeah.
They love the industry. They want everyone to be able to shine. So if we said, oh, sorry, I only had time to talk about 2 events and yours wasn't one of them, they would be like, cool, no problemo.
Yeah. And I really want to encourage people to most breweries should only do 1 event or none. I'm into doing none. Like if they say, hey, as a brewery, for whatever reason, hard times, whatever, or staffing, or we want our staff to enjoy it. So we're not committing to anything extra. That's a better message to say, hey, we're taking a break this year from Beer Week, but we look forward to seeing you at other people's events. That's, to me, a better message, 100%. So I'd rather see that. So most breweries should only do 1 event in their own place. And if they have widely distributed beers or key accounts, maybe 1 at a key account. That's it. Other than that,
What about putting on a golf tournament?
I'm saying that's the minimum that I would that reasonably one could expect. Or
the minimum 1 in-house and 1 in a key account.
If
it makes sense.
Only if you're with a distributor, they're going to pull you into more stuff, for sure. But like if you're a brew pub or a tap room that hardly ever sells their beer outside of to beer bars, I know those are fewer and farther between, but there are a few. Like you have no business trying to create an event with an account that you barely have a relationship with. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it makes sense if that's the first you're going to do it, and then from then on you're going to also do events with these people. Then it makes sense. But like, chances are that's not the case. They should be celebrating existing relationships, right? Now, again, if you're
it all makes logical sense.
Yeah. If you're with a distributor, they should know, you should be working with them enough that they know your brand and they will actually do events on your behalf and have very limited requirements for you to be there. I went to...
hey, Rob.
Yeah.
How many distributors do events in Beer Week? Can you count them out to me? Don't tell me the name. Just tell me how many distributors you saw that actively promoted Beer Week events.
I saw one very large distributor statewide, and I saw a smaller, more regional.
Statewide.
Yeah, also statewide, but not. Yeah, those are the two that I recall participating. So that leaves another large brewery that I didn't.
Another large distributor that did not, and then another smaller distributor that did not.
Right.
So doing events with your distributor isn't really a thing, FYI. They just don't have things.
They used to,
Okay.
and they can.
Absolutely.
If it's part of your business plan, and part of your business plan is selling more beer. So, all right. We both made our points, right? Is there any more of that barley one?
Only in here.
Oh, geez. Really?
Yeah.
You're going to have
What's
all
the big
that?
deal? Here, have it. I'm switch over.
What percent is this? I don't want that
Hey,
much.
don't start getting on me about what percent is this. It's not how I drink beer.
Wait, do this.
No, I don't want that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you want a different cup?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
I'm done with it.
I know that. I was like, that's why I questioned why you poured it all in the glass. I figured you'd leave some in the can, and I could. It's all right.
Well, look at what happened.
We both made our points.
This
What do we have coming up? Is what
this
you're-
Friday,
Yes.
we have a adventure to the Northlands. It
do.
is the 30th anniversary for both Beaver Street Brewing Company and Flagstaff Brewing Company.
It is.
They're
yes.
doing a combo party.
Yes.
See how our breweries work together. It's amazing.
Yeah. And
I
why?
love it.
Why are they having this joint thing?
To celebrate their 30th anniversary at the Orpheum,
Right.
which is I don't know what it is. It's a theater.
It's a theater.
So how do they have beer festivals in a theater?
They have big aisles,
Okay.
and they have a front. It's going to be cramped. They
Okay.
usually have musical things going on too.
I'm working to see if we can get a hookup.
Oh, you think? I don't know, man. Last time I kind of crashed with
Yeah, that event. Yeah, I remember.
Brouhaha.
Oh, I don't know about that. Oh no, I got some people working on it for me.
Okay.
Mostly my son.
Okay. So the Orpheum has is part of the music ticketing network. So you pay a lot of fees on those tickets,
Ew,
man.
gross.
I know. And I didn't tell anyone was coming, and I just decided to make a purchase, and it was kind of spendy to go there for 45 minutes to make an appearance.
You know whose birthday it is today?
What is today? Today is
Wednesday.
no.
Kelly Henseth.
Okay,
Yeah.
I could have guessed.
Well,
I didn't know what
told
day of the
you.
week.
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, yeah. So if people don't know, the Beaver Street was the first Hanseth brewery family, and then they subsequently opened Lumberyard down the street. And every once in a while,
I'm going to live text for
what?
happy birthday.
every once in a while, you can see like them forklifting a couple kegs from one location to the other.
Oh yeah, just driving down the sidewalk.
No, down the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Are you suggesting that that's an OSHA violation?
I'm saying I've done a lot of forklifts on sidewalks, and it's never good.
Hey, it fits right in because like they do all that track maintenance, and you'd be surprised at the kind of equipment you see on those intersections, removing snow and stuff.
Yeah. Removing snow and stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that.
We're gonna go up there. We're
Yeah.
gonna do that fun thing, and then visit some more breweries, and we should figure out another fun thing to do.
Well, yeah.
Go see Sunset Crater.
No,
There's no beer value there.
no. I think it's going to snow. I have to look at the.
Ew, gross. Ugh.
So there'll be.
That mean I'm gonna have to go up and snowboard or something?
No, you're going to have to shovel.
Oh, that's
First.
fine. I can do that.
I don't know. When I looked earlier in the week, it was supposed to snow the last, like Monday and Tuesday, and then Saturday. I haven't looked at it since. As far as I know, I don't know. So
All right, as far as you know, you don't know.
that's right. Let me get into this barley wine and fix that jargon.
Yeah. So I think that's about all we got. What else? Oh, well, we had our meeting yesterday where we were challenged by one of our industry friends to think differently about how the guild interacts with the general world of beer, because we're
General public.
Yeah, I mean, we're very focused on breweries. We do a lot of work with distributors. We do some with retailers and almost nothing as far as like interaction or providing services outside of beer festivals for consumers.
Yeah. So we discussed a lot of the struggles that we have and it's more internal conflict. Like, we like to do events, but we don't like to do them at the expense of getting in between a brewery and its customers' sales. So I had this discussion with some of the folks that wanted to talk about a festival, and they were like, there isn't any Phoenix-based Oktoberfest. I'm like, for a reason. Because, I mean, you certainly can pursue this. We've looked into it, and we decided that period is a opportunity that breweries have embraced to bring customers to their locations, to offer them these beers and perhaps menu items and
A special event kind of fun setting that
Right.
isn't
It's
the same as every day.
It's a revenue center.
Right.
It's an occasion to bring people in for that, either that traditional period of 10 days or whatever it is, or
Well, that would be a beer week. I made the air quotes
know.
week.
we just call it anyway, or in a lot of cases people don't care and they use the entire month of October. People have feelings about that, but like, that's a revenue center. It is to create more days to drink, right? That's why when we say it's 10 days, it's because we want to increase the number of Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays, and Sundays, which are traditionally when people drink. But like, the underlying thing having a week is to get people to drink on other days and like kind of
Expand their horizons.
show that we're available every day of the week, right? But when you have marquee events in the same market, it's helpful to have a couple extra Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays, right? So that people don't have to make a choice on a Friday between two things.
Right.
Give people some more space. Anyway,
So the point about Oktoberfest is
Yeah, it's a
we
revenue
don't
center.
really do one in Phoenix. Our Oktoberfest occurs in Wickenburg, which is
Right.
a destination event and not competing with members' own events, even if it's on the same day.
Right.
It's not really competing. So then if someone wants to do more Oktoberfest, and we get pitched this idea monthly at least,
yeah.
we really have made a conscious decision that's not something that we want to be part of in any of
Right.
either Tucson, Flagstaff, or Phoenix market that would
And I-
hinder our breweries having their own events.
And I will tell you, we could do it, but we would be leveraging more out-of-state and international breweries to do it.
Right.
That is, we could do so with the acceptance of our members, but right now, I don't think it's the right move. But like, don't get me wrong, if we had to do an Oktoberfest in the middle of all this stuff, we have the relationship with enough, out-of-state partners to
And
pull it off,
venues.
to make it a fundraiser for our organization. It's just something that we don't do because we already have a couple of other opportunities for both distributors and out-of-state breweries to work with us. There's no point in doing that but it's on the table. It ultimately pays for this organization. So, but for now, like, people can do those kinds of things, but like, I'm like, you really got to limit your scope, and you have to know that there's going to be a lot of breweries that are just going to say no, or commit to it and maybe not give it their full oomph, right? So
I would hope not. I would hope that if they're taking the energy and the time to do it, that they would do it the way they want to.
yeah, people commit emotionally to things like that if they think it's an opportunity, and then when it comes time to
Operations.
resource it, it's a more difficult proposition.
For sure.
But it was interesting to talk because we were just challenged to think differently about our event, and I challenged that person to think differently about theirs. It's a music-based festival, and I said, so what's the unmet need? He's because they want to expand it. I'm like, so if the festival is the nonprofit, the festival is the thing that they're funding. Like, they want to have this festival. Beyond that, it wasn't clear to me why do you need to expand it? Because they want to effectively double the size. I'm like, why? And I said, what's the unmet need? What's the thing that you're not doing because you don't have the money? Oh, it's something that we want to do outside the festival. I said, you need to lead with that. They want to bring music to areas that don't typically have live music publicly available to them. I'm like, that's a better story. Like, you don't know how many brewers that play bass, drums, used to be in band, gave it up. That's a story that'll appeal to them. Like, that's your story. I want to do whatever that thing they explained to me was. I don't want to give away too much. That's what, if I was a musician and I didn't really exercise that or have an outlet for that, I'm like, people will volunteer for that part of it. And then, of course, they're going to bring their beer along. And then, of course, so we'll see. It's a better story than like, we just have this music fest we need your beer. And then we talked about how many breweries he wanted. And I'm like, listen, man, you don't need that many breweries. You just don't. Like,
Right.
For 1,500, 2,000 people, you don't need 40 breweries. Because I don't think you're going to get 40 breweries.
That is how many we had at Baja Beer Fest last year.
Yeah.
Nice segue. We're working on that. It's very exciting.
I mean, but comparatively, we thought we needed more breweries at Wickenburg, and we didn't.
No, definitely. I think
nice.
Baja Beer Fest would be great with 20 breweries too.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there is a certain something about having to wait in line for 5 people. There's a certain very terrible thing waiting in line behind 20 people, right?
Yeah.
But having a little bit of that wait time, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
People like it.
Yeah. And it's like I said, you just have to manage how much beer that people are going to go through. So anyway, that was another discussion I had, and these are all like things that we get to do now because we're in between things. But yeah, we're already probably behind schedule on things that we want to get moving in the rest of the year. So, it is the 8th Baja Beer Fest.
The 8th.
So we're using the Ocho. I've stolen the ESPN font.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth,
Theming it out. And maybe it's dumb, and I don't
it's
care.
Baja the Ocho.
The Ocho.
Yeah. So, so we got to get posters and coasters and decide if we're going to do any kind of merch. I don't know. Permits are pending.
I wonder if we could. Oh, I talked to security. I talked to dumpsters and restrooms. I talked to fences and tables. All the
Is that
different people.
your Native American name? Speaks with dumpsters.
That's right. That's me. Maybe we could get some playground balls with the logo on it for the Ocho.
Oh God.
Say yes. Just say yes. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we're doing. It's fine.
It'll be like being a grade school playground supervisor.
I love it.
I'd be like, I don't want dodgeball happening during the festival.
Well, they're going to be sold outside the festival, but I can't say they're not going to come in. We're gonna have a booth in a box office because remember, last year we needed a box office. Like, you don't have tickets, go over there.
Are we accepting volunteers for all these things?
I've already got volunteers lined up.
Lined up.
And I'm also taking more volunteers. One of our brewery members said they are declining to participate. However, they're more than happy to come and help with whatever we need them to do. So that's nice.
So you have a brewery that wants to just help with the event.
Yeah,
So they want to support the event.
correct.
That's great. I like that.
It's amazing.
Okay, so that's going on.
But I also have a whole list of volunteers. And our favorite volunteer, Martha, is going to come down. She helped at Strong Beer, Arizona Strong. Fuck. And she helped at Real Wadden Woodsy / Woody.
I just like we're calling it Arizona Strong. Fuck now.
So then I emailed her and she said, yeah, I'll bring a bunch of people down and we'll do that too. Thought, this is incredible. Plus the other volunteers for last year I reached out to about, we got a bunch of volunteers signed up.
I don't think we need to talk about it, but we had a meeting at the Arizona Restaurant Association, and we walked through their frosted double doors with the
Very
logo on
fancy.
it. And I just saw it says AR, and it's a fork and an A. AR fork A. I'm like, yeah, man, we're at the AR fork and A today. I wonder if that
It's a very nice office.
is, yeah. It's
And the meeting was about using AI to help with marketing your restaurant.
right. We should talk about that at another show.
It's not for this show, but it was pretty cool.
No,
It's a restaurant roundtable.
As much as we use it, we could be using it for different things that I hadn't thought about. And we're going to explore the company that did the presentation, not only for our own purposes, but maybe to suggest to our members. We have one member that currently uses their product, maybe two, I don't know. So we'll have to check with them. It is an interesting application that goes beyond what our discussions were about it. Like
Right.
a couple of shows ago, we explored it briefly, but always looking for more ways to do more with less. And it seemed, for folks that have a website presence, it seems like a good value proposition potentially. Anyway, they did a roundtable format. We were kind of exploring that idea with some of our allied trade partners and getting more of our professionals involved, because we have a different format for breweries, a technical committee, which we're going to have to sort of reinvigorate again, I think, coming up, because it's been on hiatus, especially during Beer Week and all that other stuff. So we're going to have to work on that. We have CBC coming up. I'm going to be gone for a little bit. So we're going to have to figure out.
Oh, God, I have to figure out how to produce a show all by myself.
Possibly, yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, I'd love for you to do that. I did one or two of those. Or I'll have to phone it in or something.
Huh.
I don't know. I'll be on the other side of the world. so-
Interesting. All right. Well, hey, I guess we should wrap it up.
Yeah. We went longer than I thought.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging in there. I know we were really starbursting this whole thing, but here we are. Hope that you got some good information out of it. And it's not a beer podcast. It's a podcast about beer. Yeah. Even a monkey can learn. Thank you.
It's not our. Sometimes the beer finds you. Sometimes you drink it out of Andrew's glass. But that's okay. All right.
First of all, thanks everybody for coming. Really excited that folks are here today. Every once in a while, I get the unique privilege of acting as governor, and I want to make sure that it counts. And so I do a lot of fun stuff. And this one I couldn't be happier about because it brings two of my favorite things in the world together. Number one, adult beverages, particularly beer. And number two, small business. And I think it's really important that people understand these aren't just folks who are having a good time, although I know they do. They are also employers. They're folks in the supply chain, and they are people who help build community through their product. So that's a really important thing. And right now, we're excited about House Bill 2430, one of the small business bills that's going to help our office advance what's happening with small businesses, setting up a small business fund that helps even out some of the ways that we actually do our work at the office. But today we're here to talk about Arizona Beer Week. And so I'd like to invite, I don't know which one of you from the Arizona Craft Beer Guild is going to be doing a chat real quick, and then we will read the proclamation. Also with us, we've got representatives from Walter Station, Shanton Brewing Company. I want to shout out to Saddle Mountain out on the west side, one of my favorites, of course. Mother Road in Flagstaff, I think is a great spot. And we've got one of our folks who serves it up from the main ingredient here as well. But Rob, go ahead and introduce yourself, and let's say a word or two. Okay.
Hi, I am Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. On behalf of 100 brewing companies and almost 150 locations across the state, just wanted to take the time to welcome to Arizona Beer Week. It is a celebration of our breweries, bars, restaurants, distributors and retailers. It is a time for us to tell our stories and to carry that momentum into the rest of the year. We have places as far north as Colorado City, Yuma, Bisbee, Pine Top, Lake Havasu City, and all the way down the I-17 corridor, all the way down to Tucson. So the thing I wanted to invite you to is to take place in these third spaces. It's where people come together. They're so enthusiastic, they share beverages with each other. And I think those places are essential to our democratic process, our community building. And so again, thank you, Secretary Fonce, Acting Governor, for reinvigorating us at the conclusion of our Arizona Beer Week. And we appreciate it.
All right, and definitely is a part of the American tradition. Ale houses and inns where voting used to happen a lot of times back in the days of the origin of the Republic. So we've got some whereases here, bear with me, but I want to read this whole thing. This is an official proclamation by myself, the acting governor of the state of Arizona, whereas the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild, established in 1998, has been a fierce advocate for the policy and legislative endeavors of our breweries, championing the uncompromising quality and remarkable diversity of locally crafted beers. And whereas in this, its 14th consecutive year, Arizona Beer Week celebrates our state's craft beer culture with a myriad of special events hosted by breweries, craft beer bars, and restaurants, showcasing exclusive releases, collaborative brews, samplings, dinners, roundtables, and educational panels in promotion of Arizona's cherished libations in moderation. I threw that whole one without stumbling. And whereas Arizona Strong Beer Festival for 24 years serves as a platform to debut hundreds of breweries, pouring thousands upon thousands of distinct beer brands, entertaining tens of thousands of esteemed guests in Arizona. And whereas Arizona breweries serve as pillars of small business, with establishments dotting every corner of our great state, spanning 28 of our 30 legislative districts, from Bisbee to Yuma, Pine Top to Lake Havasu City, and from Colorado City to our larger metropolitan areas. And whereas according to the Brewers Association, craft beer in Arizona has yielded an economic impact of over $1.2 billion and produced 224,000 plus barrels in 2022 alone, a testament to these breweries' significant contribution to the state's economy. And whereas Arizona breweries garner recognition worldwide, consistently earning accolades in national and international competitions, recently exemplified by victories at the World Beer Cup in May 2023, where 4 Arizona breweries clinched 5 medals, and at the Great American Beer Festival this past September, where Arizona breweries collectively earned 6 awards. Now therefore, I, Adrian Fontes, as acting governor, do hereby proclaim February 15th through February 25th, 2024 as Arizona Beer Week in recognition of over 100 Arizona brewing companies alongside more than 150 establishments, all serving Arizonans their favorite brews and extending exceptional hospitality to residents and visitors alike. Congratulations to the Arizona Brewers Guild on Arizona Beer Week. It's my honor to present this proclamation. Thanks, everybody. I know Brian's going to ask a question, but does anybody else want to go first? Get a picture too? All right. Excellent. Anything over here? Brian, did you have a question?
Your favorite beer?
My favorite beer? Goodness gracious, you're going to put me on the spot. I like almost every beer brewed in Arizona. I think Mother Bunch does a phenomenal Tower Station. There's plenty of others around, but I think that's the one if I have to pick one. Sorry, everybody else. It is a matter of normal practice that we communicate with the governor when we do these sorts of things. So the office has been informed. Yes.
What beer won the awards?
Which beers won the awards? I would defer to our friends over here.
You can check that out at chooseazbrews.com. We had a couple breweries to gold medals, but off the top of my head, it was Red House collected a few medals, Saddle Mountain collected a few medals, Oro Brewing Company in the past. There are 8 breweries that have consistently been in the running at the Great American Beer Festival in the world. We are collecting entries right now from World Beer Cup in Las Vegas.
Anyone else? And by the way, this is to my favorites. Honorary mention, of course, goes to anything out of Santan Brewery. They do a phenomenal job. Okay, yeah, we're ready. Are we ready to crack some open? We're going to crack some. All right, let's have a beer. So our host Adam here from the Phoenix Beer Company is going to help us understand.
So the Santeros are an actual role here in Arizona where they actually are in charge of the gates that get water from the city. So we actually partnered with the AC Water Association to get back some more proceeds with water conservation efforts, education, and training.
Cheers.
And those out too. All four beers. Go on, dude. Keep going. All right. You are Tell anybody I'm here.